Once there lived a newly married couple named Jack and Sarah. Jack had a good job as a manager in a company. One night, Jack and Sarah were having dinner at a hotel. Sarah scooped some chicken rice onto her plate and began to eat. She noticed a couple sitting nearby. They had a baby girl, maybe 9 months old. The little one was giggling and waving her tiny hands. Sarah paused for a moment and stared at the baby. A wish filled her heart. Jack looked up.
What's wrong?
Sarah glanced at him.
I wish we had a baby like her,
she said softly. Jack followed her gaze, then smiled.
We will, very soon.
Sarah smiled too. A few months passed, but there was no good news. Jack and Sarah began to worry. They visited a gynecologist for a checkup. After doing some tests, the doctor said their reports were normal. But 7 years passed, and their house remained quiet. One day, Jack noticed his cousin O'Neill looking worried. Jack asked,
O'Neill, is everything okay?
O'Neill sighed.
I already have 4 kids. And now Elizabeth is expecting again. The doctor said the delivery is expected next week.
Jack listened quietly.
I don't have enough money for the hospital.
O'Neill continued.
You know, school fees, utility bills. It's all too much.
Jack patted his shoulder.
Don't worry, O'Neill. I'll take care of the hospital charges.
O'Neill looked at him with relief.
Thank you, Jack.
Jack just smiled. That night, Jack told Sarah everything about O'Neill and Elizabeth. Then he said,
Sarah, I've been thinking. What if we adopt O'Neill's baby?
Sarah's eyes lit up with joy.
Yes, Jack. I want that too.
Jack smiled softly. Soon the day came. Elizabeth was in the hospital for delivery. Jack and Sarah were there too, waiting with O'Neill. After some time, a baby girl was born. Everyone was filled with joy. Elizabeth held the baby gently in her arms. She looked tired but happy. O'Neill stood beside her, smiling. Jack stepped forward.
O'Neill, Elizabeth.
He said softly.
We would like to adopt the baby.
O'Neill and Elizabeth were stunned. Elizabeth pulled the baby closer. Her smile disappeared. O'Neill's expression changed. He said sharply,
We asked for help, not to give away our child.
Sarah's eyes filled with tears. Jack stood up slowly and held Sarah's hand.
If you don't agree, we won't ask again.
They left quietly. One day, O'Neill's son met with a serious accident. Jack rushed to the hospital. He paid all the hospital bills and bought the medicines too. While Elizabeth stayed at the hospital, Sarah looked after their house and took care of the other kids. O'Neill and Elizabeth felt deeply ashamed. One evening, O'Neill and Elizabeth came with the baby. Elizabeth gently placed the baby in Sarah's arms. Sarah and Jack looked at each other, shocked. O'Neill spoke softly.
This baby is yours now.
Tears rolled down Sarah's cheeks as she looked at the baby. Jack stood silently, his eyes full. O'Neill patted Jack's shoulder. Years passed, and now Mealy was 12 years old. One night, Mealy stopped outside her parents' room.
Jack. I don't think she's not our daughter.
Sarah said softly.
It feels like she's truly ours.
Jack replied with a smile.
Me too.
Mealy froze.
I'm not their real daughter?
She couldn't sleep that night. The next morning, she left for school without saying a word. That evening, she walked into the lounge.
Who are my real parents?
She asked. Jack tried to speak, but Mealy stopped him.
Please. Just tell me the truth.
Jack said quietly.
You were O'Neill and Elizabeth's daughter.
Mealy's eyes filled with tears.
Please take me to them.
Jack nodded. Sarah wiped her tears in silence. That night, Jack took Mealy to O'Neill's house.
I brought your daughter back.
He said. O'Neill and Elizabeth were shocked. Jack left. The family wasn't happy. After dinner, Elizabeth led Mealy to her daughter's room. But Emma said,
Mom, please arrange another place for her.
Emily added.
Yes. There's no place.
Elizabeth spread a mattress in the lounge. Mealy lay there without a word. The next morning, Elizabeth placed toast and tea in front of her. Mealy tried to eat but couldn't. After breakfast, Mealy quietly went back to the lounge. Elizabeth came also and sat beside her.
Mealy, we love you. But Jack helped us when John had an accident. That's why we let you go.
Mealy looked up and said,
So you sold me?
Elizabeth quickly replied.
No, my dear. We were just thankful to them. You lived a good life there. We can't give you the same. Your dad and I are working full-time and part-time too.
Mealy nodded slowly.
I made a mistake. I want to go back.
Elizabeth smiled. Mealy returned home with O'Neill. Jack and Sarah were surprised to see her. Mealy ran to them and said,
Now I know how much you love me. As my real mom and dad.
O'Neill wiped his tears and quietly turned to leave.